When we say something is a success, we're talking about the contribution of a myriad of people, of a myriad of resources, of a myriad of skills. We're talking about tenacity, talking about fortitude, talking about resilience, talking about staying the course, talking about focus, talking about unrelenting commitment to that particular subject or object. It's all this that come together to bring about success in different endeavors. So when you drop the buck, you are going to create a gap, and it's going to affect the positive impact of that group to which you belong. When it concerns Nigeria, it concerns you and it concerns all of us here. And we go out working assiduously to bring you accurate details. And that's how Francis is bringing for us the second stage of our talk about entrenching grassroots democracy. Francis, what did you find?
As politicians seeking elective offices traverse the length and breadth of this country for support, electorates should also pay attention to the quality of aspirants at the local and state level, and not just concentrate at presidential aspirants alone.
That is why we mix it up all. When everybody tends to go to the federal level for any political appointee or for any political context, how well will they mean well for the people at the grassroots? Because the moment you all go for the Senate reps or presidents, you tend to forget about the chairmanship and the councillorship. The local government has been relegated and neglected. And that is why you see people who tend to see that place as it's not a place to go. I want to go to the National Assembly. I want to become the Senate. What am I doing at the councillor? What am I doing at the chairmanship? But that is where you need to serve your people.
You can't tell me somebody running for my councillor in my ward that people don't know about running. They're not even talking about presidency in my ward. They're talking about the individual running for election. They're not talking about presidency possibly in my House of Assembly constituency. They're talking about individual running an election. They're not talking about presidency when people are running council chairman. They're talking about individual because they know them. Those who are talking about presidency is people like you and I, because we know the factors involved. We know the individual that will make it happen.
Local governments are created with the ultimate goal of bringing government closer to the people at the grassroots. However, a true third tier has never taken off in the governance structure of Nigeria, despite the widespread endorsement of local government as a potent system to mobilize people for local participation in governance.
There is no effect of democracy at the local level. The aims of creating the local government for people is no longer there today. We are not getting it right. That is why you are hearing all this shouting up and down that government is not doing anything, government is not doing anything. It's just from the grassroots. The echo, the voice is from the grassroots. It's not the right of a governor to give us a road in my community. He does not even know the community. He does not even know the terrain. It is my councillor from my ward who knows the cronies, the corner of the community where we had an erosion disturbing us, where we have roads to be built, where we have a market that we need to take goods out to the city, that there's no road, and we need a way to have infrastructures. It is not the governors at the top.
Local government system in Nigeria is virtually non-existent. In the southeast, if we have local government autonomy, the SERA will monitor the activity of the state and local governments. You must show us quarterly, periodically, what we have achieved with your money. We have all the allocations coming from the federal government. We'll confront you with that.
In every supposedly democratic state, not only is election a means of determining the will of the people regarding their choice of political leaders, but the process and outcome of the election should also reflect the consent and aspiration of the people as organized electorates. However, election at the local government level in Nigeria has been relegated to the background, whereby its processes, conduct and outcome are often at the mercy of the state ruling parties and their governors.
This is a serious matter indeed. For a state that have over 40 local government, or a state that have over 20 local government, an election took place. No other party win even one councillor. I'm not even talking about the chairmanship. The entire councillors. No any other party win one. All were won by the incumbent party sitting at that state. Neither where there is PDP or either where there is APC. Is that democracy? The governor conducted the elections. What do you expect him to do? He neither make his election, not elections.
It's inappropriate. NSEC should go. INEC should control the election at all levels of the party, of government. When a state controls the elections, appoints membership of those elections, the tendency is that the result should favor those who pay them. NSEC is not independent. There's no independent in state electoral commission. They never say state independent electoral commission. When you want to now decide as a party the candidate you are going to present in Nigeria, you look at their antecedents. You look at the antecedents. You look at the character, strength, and integrity of that person. So Nigeria possibly will look for such individuals and identify them. Parties will identify them, and we know them.
While Nigerians are entertained with the current season of political declarations, attention should not only be at the federal level. Electorates should also pay close attention to the quality of people vying for governorship and state houses of assembly, because politics indeed is local.
There's a lot to be done, because the mentality of the current leadership of local government is attitude of acquisition and no service. Even when you change the system, even when you make it autonomous, they're supposed to be supervised.
Democracy has been adjudged the world's most accepted system of government. Therefore, Weekend Deal today is captioned Entrenching Grassroots Politics in Nigeria.
Many thanks, Francis. Yes, and that's how we set the tone for our conversation. We began yesterday, entrenching grassroots democracy in Nigeria. How far have we come? We saw the respondents speaking very animatedly, and we're going to continue in that regard as we start our conversation with Minasara Kogo Uma, the lawyer and a public affairs analyst. It's great to have you on Weekend Deal.
Good morning, Nigerians. It's my honor to be here always.
Okay, let's look at local governments in Nigeria.
Yes.
What would you say they are well equipped to perform their functions? What is their functions anyway?
Yes, paradoxically, you have local government as a bona fide tier of governance. That is under Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And regarding the functions, when you look at part 4 of the schedules under Section 7, precisely under part C of the listing, it talks about chronology of the functions of the local government, one of which is maintenance of security at the municipality level. The second one is the issue of education at the lowest and up to the sub-basic education level. That is where you have local education authorities under the local government. The third one is primary health care, talking about all these areas of immunizations, all these areas of common diseases and the rest, maintenance of hospitals that are below general hospital category. Then the third one is planning of the regions, planning of the areas, planning of the town, talking about street namings, talking about house numberings. If you have such entrenched very, very carefully in the system, then the conduct of census and other things, developmental plans will be very easy. Then another one has to do with the maintenance of certain things that are for the social benefits of the society. For example, cemeteries. Apart from cemeteries, for example, motor parks, the maintenance, the building, and the collection of the taxes there at the motor parks, at the markets, maintenance of law and order within the markets, allocation of market stalls, settling of disputes, and anything there too. Then apart from that, it is the one that is solely responsible for linkages of governmental security, administrative bureaucracy with the state governments and by extension with the federal government, and even if it's by the international district. Then maintenance of traditions, maintenance of culture, maintenance of customs, maintenance of the traditional institutions and the heritages. That is talking about the provisions of sections 21, 23, and 24 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whereby you will be able to bring good citizens. But fundamentally, if you don't have a very robust, indelible structure in any building, then it is not expected that you have solidity of the building. And that is the reason why you're having all these, the social, the economic, the political, and the security problems pervading the nation.
Challenges.
Is because of those neglects, those
that are inherent,
gaps that are there at the local government level. So long, the moment you now try to solve all those problems, automatically you will see the robust symbiance of stability of governance.
So now we've identified the challenges. They are there and they've been there for a while. And the negative impact is eating deep into the nation. And we can't just sit and watch. Someone has told us that the people who are being served should find more peaceable means to make their challenges known. But we have come to also know that many of them don't even know what their rights are. Many have lost interest. Many have migrated to the cities. But we know what the challenge is. How can we call for a change before things get out of hand?
The government, especially at the apex level, should apply democratic humanism and social justice. If you look at the Constitution carefully, there are 1 up to 28 different provisions, talking about Section 14, subsection 1 and 3, Section 15, subsection 1, 2, 3, Section 16, Section 17, Section 18, Section 21, 23, and 24 of the Constitution. All these talks about social justice, balanced democracy, talking about the entrenchment of service to the people, talking about leadership as trying as much as possible to give dividends to the people. When you look at that very carefully, and then when you tally it with what is going on, practically speaking, the people will not even see semblance of governance until when there is political activity. Now that the gladiators are looking for elections towards 2023, that is when they will be going there to be.
But what must we do now?
But what we should do now, as a matter of fact, is that the President of the Federal Republic and indeed the National Assembly should appreciate the relevance of the local government and really do a clinical constitutional surgery as far as Section 162 is concerned, expunge the provisions of Section 162, subsections 5, 6, 7, and 8. By the time you expunge them, automatically local government has gotten its independence. Then the issue of the elections, try as much as possible and amend the Electoral Act 2022. Amend it so that INEC will have the unitary repository power to conduct elections at the local government level generally. Because definitely you are seeing wherever there is local government election, it is those that are the proteges of the governor or the party under which the governor comes from. This is the one that is winning almost all the seats of the elections. And as a matter of fact, the governor reserves the right to even keep running the local governments with caretaker committees for an uncountable number of periods. And this is very, very unhealthy for Nigeria's democracy, because democracy is all about governance in the interest of the people for the entrenchment of robust development for the people. And you discover that the type of grants that are going, for example, to local government system through the so-called joint account, there is no local government that is taking lower than 250 million every month. But by the time you go for a period of 4 years, you will never see development that is up to 250 million in any local government. Take serious local governments that are having, bringing about a lot of revenue for the government. Take Etiosa, for example. Take Kano Municipal, for example. Take Amak, for example. Take Kaduna North, Kaduna South. Some of these local governments are even more potentially viable independently than some of the smaller states that we are having in the country. So it is important, if we want development for the people, if we want solution to insecurity, if we want solution to use restiveness, if we want solution solution to unemployment, if we want solution to going back to the land, all these things we must
They
go
must be
back
given
and
the
then respect
autonomy.
the local government as a structure.
Okay, they know the people and the councillors, and they know what will work best for them. We want to thank you for coming to talk with us on Weekend Deal today. Me Nasara Kogo Uma, a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Indeed, he's in-depth, he's knowledgeable, and we have learned quite a bit. Nigeria is progressing. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
We're going to Lagos now. It's NTA TV going to tell us what they found out, talking about managing resources at the local government level.
Nigeria is a federal republic with 3 tiers of government: the federal, state, and local levels. The state and local government play a vital role in the protection of this country. Generally, there are 774 local government areas within the 36 states and 8 capitals. Therefore, the need for local government administration in a state is to bring the government closer to the people at the grassroots level. An active local government indicates that government policies and activities reach the populace. The question is, are the people really feeling the impact of the local government administration?
There are developments going on in terms of the street lights. So it has been, installed everywhere. But some areas are still hoping for theirs.
I think it's doing well because the environment now is clean. The lawmen are working, and they do the desilting of the gutters. The gutters are being packed. In those days, when the rain is falling, we have flood all over Surulere. I think now all the gutters have been cleared.
We are feeling the impact in terms of roads, infrastructure, social amenities. If you go around the area now, you can see there's a lot of boreholes by the government.
A sound financial administration is the core of good, efficient, effective, and equity, which are the guiding principles of good financial management.
I can say it authoritatively that with our activities in our local government, we believe that our people, they are having our impact. For example, some of the schools that have been abandoned for so long, we constructed it from the beginning. We have one of 3-story buildings, we have one of bungalows, at least we have provided almost 120 classrooms.
We organize a 3-day free health program in Surulere here, which is not going to stop there. And at that program, cervical screening test was done, diabetes, hypertension, free glasses, and also we are done in that program.
Finance is the fuel of any administration, either private or public. At the local government level, it constitutes the lubricant for the wheel of good administration.
There's a template that the state has been given to us on how to apply our funds. At the beginning of the year, I know that each local government, we have to prepare our budget. And we work towards whatever that we might have planned to do for the year. And as we are trying to do just that, we have local government auditor general that are coming to us every 3 months. And every 3 months, we are taking our report to the House of Assembly. Yes, we have to take our report to the House of Assembly. They want to see how we have been applying our funds. And at the local level, any project that's above a certain amount, we have to get the approval of Mr. Governor.
Our revenue for last year was about 136 million approved budget. So in this year, our approved budget is 236 million, increase of over 100 million. And I believe by the grace of God, before the end of the year, we will also generate more than that.
It is a fact that local government is the most potent instrument to mobilize people for local participation and to spread democratic values. What are the challenges faced by the Treasury departments?
Many people until when we get to their organization or whatever, either we enforce it. We have to do enforcement before some people will pay their revenue, what they're supposed to pay to the local government.
As the country gears up to 2023 elections, it is pertinent to appreciate the importance of local government administration. On the other hand, the financial personnel should manage the revenue resources well and discharge their duties effectively.
Many thanks, Educational Television, NTA, from Lagos. Yes, we can see how resources, when they are well managed, the people feel the impact. And they will speak of it. People will say what they experience. And that's the truth and the fact of the matter. Now, let's go to Kano, where we want to talk about policies and candidates. Tell us more, please.
The success of democracy is not only measured by the smooth and successful election process. It also entails the ability to elect competent leaders at all levels to run the affairs of the people. Leaders who will have as their utmost priority security of life and property of the citizenry, allowing them access to the resources by providing basic life-sustaining amenities.
You know, naturally, human beings would like to have anything that will make their lives better in terms of security, in terms of good transportation system, in terms of healthcare facilities, in terms of schools, that is education at all levels.
And for people development oriented to take place, it has to start from grassroots level. And it is at that level that we want people that understand the complications and the intricacies of the local level. Hence, it is only those who are educated enough to understand the dynamics that can be able to contribute and bring development at that level. The importance of educated people participating in politics at that level cannot be overemphasized, because this is actually where things start, and this is where the impact is being felt, and this is where the government is closer to the people.
However, like many other states in northern Nigeria, the political apathy in Kano is that the highly educated people with political ambitions do not usually begin their political career from the grassroots. Instead, they vie for high political positions at the national level.
This has history related to it. In those days, just like the army, politicians are viewed as thugs, unemployed people who have nothing to do. The art of civil service, which was coined to make average Nigerian, especially the North, dependent on the civil service, has created that problem. Civil servants will seldom leave their jobs to go and join politics because of uncertainties in political process.
Those people who are voting, choosing the leaders, do not appreciate the quality of a leader who should be voted into the office. They hardly appreciate, majority do not appreciate. So if a qualified person, well-educated, highly experienced person is contesting with somebody who is not qualified, or with very poor educational background, with little or no experience, because of that ignorance and high level of illiteracy of the voters, they may prefer to vote for the illiterate person because they don't know the implication.
This issue of contempt of politicians against educated people, especially at that local level. Politicians, those who control politics at that level, political godfathers and renowned politicians that control politics at that level do not feel comfortable seeing educated people coming to contest. So that also clash of interest usually makes the educated people to decide not to since they will come into conflict, and then there's every tendency that those who control the affairs might make it difficult for them.
The absence of proper funding and the subservient nature of the leaders at local level, therefore, leads to the neglect of local populace, as major developmental projects are concentrated in the cities, leaving the local settlement high and dry.
You are watching Weekend Deal. We've been talking since yesterday about entrenching grassroots democracy in Nigeria. Some say it's already been entrenched, but we are asking the question, how strongly, how vibrantly, how are people participating actively? How are the funds being distributed? The impact of the local governments, the councillors, are they being felt? Do you know your councillor in your ward? Do you know your local government area chairperson? Some people don't even travel home. All these and more have been coming up since yesterday. We continue the conversation. Women always say they bring something special and unique to the table. But have they been given the opportunity to do so? Talking about grassroots politics, talking about democracy in Nigeria. But we can find out more. And you can watch with us and learn with us and interact with us through our number. Reach us via SMS on WhatsApp. Let's talk with somebody. A retired permanent secretary who is vying for a senatorial seat in Ebonyi State. She is Princess Anne Wabunfi Agomeze.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you. This is my second time of meeting you, and it's been good. We've been communicating.
And you are speaking for women.
Yes.
We're talking about grassroots. Women are the grassroots. Talking about democracy. What is happening? How are we impacting? Is our pulse being felt actively?
Well, our pulse is being felt if you look at the men's side of it, because they feel the women are just there to beat the drums, dance around, wear uniform. But that is not what it should be. The women need to get involved. As a matter of fact, you know that we are more in number. Even when you go to INEC, the registration is the women that actually go in for the votes. And so you find out that the women, there is this apathy. They are yet to see themselves as being able to. And so at that local level, what the women needs to do is to get involved by registering. First and foremost, you need to register. When you register, which means you now understand that you are in the process of getting involved. And when you register, you need to know your ward, you need to know your local government, you need to know your councillors. And with this kind of advocacy, the women participation at the local level will actually increase. But like I told you about, we need to keep mentoring them, because most women kind of get scared.
Why are they scared?
Well, they are scared because of some cultural issues. They are scared because of family values, because a lot of husbands will not let the woman go into politics. Unfortunately, men believe if you're in politics, you are out there for men to devour. But that is not what it is. Because if you know your onions, so stand firm.
Women know what women need, and that if women come on board, they'll be able to identify and fill that gap so that women can perform better at all levels. But we'll continue with that. Let's go to Enugu. Let's feel the pulse of grassroots politics over there. Please share with us.
It is a known fact that the political race has gathered swift momentum as the date for the 2023 general elections draw closer by the passing day. The number of political aspirants who have signified their interest in contesting for elective positions into various tiers of government in the country have continually been on the rise, particularly from the stables of the major political parties.
They have not resigned. They still want to become president, want to become governors and all that. Now, I describe these people as like squirrels. When squirrels were eating the ripe palm fruits, they're keeping their tails on the ripe palm fruits. And then they will ripe palm fruit that I own you. After eating the wrapped ones, I'll go back to the wrapped ones. Why can't you resign upon you want to contest the elections?
More intriguing is even on the seemingly overbearing focus on the race for the presidential position. One can only wonder as to why this development and what exactly does the presidential position posit for the average Nigerian.
Why would a country allow over 15 to 20 men get forms of 100 million each without certainty of ticket, without certainty of position, without all of them knowing, with all of them knowing they won't emerge as number one, yet they are procuring forms?
Probably because people are waking up. People are beginning to see that there is so much that they can, offer to the country.
When you concentrate the entire power of the nation and resources of the nation in one single office, you are likely to have everybody daring to get there.
But then, are there not even other elective positions which should directly bear impact on the lives of the people?
We are looking at people who will cite an example of where they have served, either as low persons or in a lower cadre, being transparent. So if your antecedent doesn't speak for you as a transparent and an accountable person, you will not do magic when you get to the higher cadre.
In Enugu State, the expectations of the electorate as to those who would better represent their interests into various elective offices present varying but fascinating views based on the past and present experiences.
It shows that people are interested in this country. It shows that even with all the negative reports, that people have confidence that we're optimistic that things are going to get better.
None of them is interested to service this country. Everybody is ready to grab the money wherever it is coming from. So I don't think that some of them have anything to offer.
I've not really seen any of the candidates who has the answer to the problem of this country.
The political awareness of the people in this part of the divide seems quite high. Some have even formed political pressure groups to harness and ensure that the electorates get their acts right and vote in credible candidates in the general elections.
Kind of recouch their manifesto by telling them to include this and maybe exclude this. We do not want the manifestos to sound like those gospel messages we keep hearing from the politicians, and it always remains business as usual.
But then, how very plausible are these measures given the typical Nigerian factor?
The same people, they're recycling themselves from First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic. That's what I've been doing. Therefore, if the electoral process, which is put in place, and the people will be allowed, not intimidated, to vote according to their conscience, and the votes will count, I believe the right candidate will be fished out.
All in all, the stage is set, and it is hoped that the Nigerian electorates are now wise up enough to determine their destiny by choosing and voting right in the 2023 general elections.
Thank you, NTA Enugu. You know, we've gone beyond saying your vote is your power, your vote, your choice, you vote your candidate. That's your PVC now is your conscience. And what you use it to do depends on you, and what you want it to achieve as well depends on you. We were talking with Princess Anne Wabuife Agomeze, and she's a former permanent secretary aspiring for a senatorial seat. But we're focused on women at the grassroots level, because if women had been entrenched in grassroots democracy, any woman coming out to vie for any position will not face much of a challenge, because our women have already been there, and they'll be watching the ground, and they'll be moving around, you know, to bring more women to the center. Now, let's look at local government chairmen. We often hear chairmen. We don't hear chairwomen. Councillors, when they say, you just say 50, all men. We've hardly seen a woman stand in their midst, even at that local government level, even at the ward level. What is happening?
Surprisingly, it's not the same. In my come from a Ebonyi state, it's not the same in Ebonyi state. A lot of women have actually gone into councillorship. They've been mentored up to that level. And my governor, David Umahi, has really tried. In my state, all the secretaries of the local government, the 13 local governments are women.
Mandatorily?
They are all women.
Or an informal agreement?
Well, it could be an informal, but I believe he's gender sensitive. He's a he for a she. And we have about 4 local government chairpersons.
That are women?
That are women. And so we are really coming up. We expect these women will help to really help those ones at the local level, councillorship, ensuring that more women come up. So I agree with you. When you have those women at that level, it makes it easier for you when you're aspiring for something higher. They will be able to galvanize the base for you. But sometimes, even when we get to that level, we still find it difficult to really come out and support our fellow women with our aspirations. We still wait and be looking up to the men to say,
give you permission.
Oh, permission. You don't have to go here, you don't have to go there, you don't have to do this. You are afraid of losing the one you have, rather than coming out to say, you know, we say, vote everywhere you see women.
You're at the grassroots. You don't need to spend much money in talking to the women and men at the grassroots. Is there money being expended at the grassroots level?
Yes, money is being spent because the women are used to the men coming around during the election time to give them money to sell their conscience, to buy over their voters card, to give them Maggi, to give them, rice,
salt.
And so they get satisfied with all these things.
But you are telling them it can be different.
Yes, what we're saying is you don't have to collect from them. Even when you collect, the women should learn to vote according to their conscience. So when we are able to bring them up to that level, then we are ready to go. Most times, like in my last election, no matter what I told the women, see, what is important is when a woman is going into an election, we need to let the woman know. If you support this woman, it gives hope for your girl child. It enables both your sisters, your cousins to realize this is doable. They still believe the men on trouser will do it better for them, which is not true. The women are more accessible. They use us to keep us under the rain and sun because we do the voting, and at the end of the day they give us 500 naira to 2,000 and so on and so forth. We women should be able to say, no, we don't need this. We need to queue behind a woman and a man that is equally good.
That we believe in. People we believe in.
People will believe in.
Who can
somebody
deliver.
That can actually reach them.
And come back to help us at the grassroots.
Exactly.
Okay. We want to thank you very much.
Thank
Princess
you so
Anne
much.
Wabuife Agomeze. It's always an inspiration to talk with you. You're aspiring for the senatorial seat in Ebonyi State. We wish you all the best. Keep in touch with the grassroots. And,
I will.
We'll see how it goes.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. You're watching Weekend Deal. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. You're watching Weekend Deal. We're talking about entrenching grassroots democracy in Nigeria. We want to talk about elections, PVCs, coalition centers. You often hear delegates, right? Do you know what their role is? Do you know who they are? Do you know how they are chosen? Ayuba will tell us now.
As the 2023 presidential elections draw nearer, quite a number of politicians have begun vying for the tickets of their parties amidst the viewership of prospective voters. But still, how many people really understand the voting process from the rudimentary stage of picking delegates for political positions?
There are two categories of delegates in the political system in Nigeria. We have those who are called statutory or super delegates, and we have those who are elected delegates. This category of people are the ones that serve as electoral college that helps in picking the nominees of the different political parties that will run or stand as the flag bearers for those political parties. Now, who are the super delegates or the statutory delegates? These are political office holder like the president, vice president, governor, deputy governor, chairman of area council and local government and their vice chairman, as well as national working committee of the various political parties at both local government and the state level, the members of the parliament, federal and state lawmakers. These are largely the people that constitute super delegates or statutory delegates.
In the recent past, the National Assembly have done the needful by amending the Electoral Act to give room for these superdelegates to be able to vote.
Now to the other category of delegates, which are the elected delegates. These are people, party members who volunteer to contest to be the representatives of the members of the party. They are elected from people, these are people who aspire to contest as delegates. They are usually 3 from every state. So they go through the normal elective positions. Possibly they will pick form to express interest in being elected as delegates. But you need to see it like a primary and secondary thing. First, you are a member of the party. Then, if it is made clear to you that, the party wants to elect delegates that will come to the convention ground to elect the party flag bearers, then you can show interest. And there could be 5, out of which 3 will be elected to be the delegate from each of the states.
But in general, as every process is concerned, there are pros and cons of the delegate system.
Well, what we need to know is that first we need to understand that the delegate system is limited to only indirect mode of primary. So if a party does not want to do indirect, you don't actually need delegates. So there are 3 modes of primaries recognized by Nigerian Electoral Act. The first, according to Section 84, is direct primaries. Direct primary involves all members of the party, but the party can set criteria or criterion for you to be a voter in a direct primary, in which case the party may say you have to be a financial member. So if you have not paid your dues up to date, you may be disqualified from voting. It's like when Annex says you have not registered, and because you have not registered, you cannot vote. So the party can say, 1, for you to be able to vote in their direct primary, you must be a card-carrying member of the party. 1, you must also be a financial member. 2, the third mode of primary is consensus. In the case of consensus, you don't even vote. It is believed that you endorse the preferred aspirant, because you are still an aspirant until when you have been elected and your name has been submitted as the candidate of the party.
It should be noted, though, that there are events leading to and after the party primaries have been held, such as screening and approval of aspirants who will proceed to the elections proper when the time comes.
Many thanks, Ayuba. Threw more light on delegates, who they are, what they do, how they come up, and the roles that they perform. Okay, you're on air right now, sir. We're introducing you, Shitu Mohammed Kabir, MON, former National Chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council. You're here with us on Weekend Deal to throw more light on what we're discussing. Great to have you here today live.
Thank you. Good morning.
Great. We're looking at entrenching grassroots democracy in Nigeria, looking at the grassroots and democratical practices and processes. How would you say we are faring?
For us, we believe that development programs must start from the grassroots. Developmental programs are now being hindered by some of our constitutional lacunas. Especially when you talk of entrenching development, because development and politics go pari passu, they go together. So you can't entrench political system without developmental programs. And now we have, as a chairman, when I was chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council, I brought 3 things to Nigerian table. 1 is to say we must do away with this local government, state SEC, State Electoral Commission, so that we can have only one body that conduct. Why that? Is to take the local government away from the caprices of the governors. Because the governors, this joint account and co, that make the local government to be under the state has brought us to where we are. And that's why you have more developmental program from the federal government than the state and local government. And what are the developmental programs that we must entrench in the local government and the world? Is about looking at what can we as a government, as people, can have as an advantage over other countries. Nigeria has greens. We are agricultural agrarian. Most of us here are agrarian. We come from agricultural and then we should have used what we have to make sure that we propagate our country and to bring the world to Nigeria, which is easier. Because you find out that we have the green, we have the best crops, we have the best arable lands. I was in Austria and I was told that one of the best wheat in the world come from Lake Chad. If you have the chairman of Jere, local government of Borno State, going into wheat production, how do you see? But they can't do that because the financial which they will use
held by the state
is held by the state. So as a chairman of Interparty, I said we must abrogate that.
But did you achieve it at the end of the day?
Yes,
How far?
I think the National Assembly just passed that now. Mr. President give us the presidential order 8 or 9 to say that the fund of the local government must go direct to them, and that's why they are publishing it now in the newspaper so that people can now see what they are doing. And secondly, in order to entrench democracy, we say as an Interparty Advisory Council, I say, look, let us have what you do, especially in the area of electoral process. You must have Electoral Offences Commission.
Okay.
Because when people know, as to cover up rigging, to cover up this, because when people know that you cannot go and snatch ballot, you cannot do this, you could be arrested and prosecuted. As it is today, INEC are changing so much that they cannot prosecute electoral offences. And because we cannot, when people know that they can, they
do things with impunity.
Yeah, you must have reward process
and consequences.
Punishment process.
As
so the process for punishment
must be well situated, so people can see and know. If you have been elected, and then we must ban distribution of rice, sugar, all this to our local. Stomach infrastructure
is wrong, because we have now putting more people to come to urban area and leave the rural area because they want to be legislator, they want to be councillor.
But we're hearing now that people have become so used to it that when there's no, you just come and be talking to me, people will stand for 5 hours to listen to you. They may be asking, I left my house as early as 6 a.m. I trekked down 1 kilometer. Often tired to take some water, some Maggi for the stew I'll make afterwards and all that. If you take that away, what's left? I'm playing the devil's advocate.
That's
here.
what we have lost as people. In the 60s and even during the MPN era, nobody asked you for money. It's ideology. If you look at MPP, MPN, it's ideology. In fact, people fight over, you are not MPP.
They want to hear your manifesto.
What are you going to do for us?
What will you be doing
different?
different?
But today, we have took ourselves out of it from 1999 to now. Why? Because we start campaigning with millions of naira, rice and co.
So when people bring those gifts, are we now saying they have become, they are not inspired to talk, to even tell people what they are bringing to the table because they know they are coming with gari and rice?
If I'm going to campaign and I know that I'll be challenged to ask them, what have you done? Okay, if you have not been in government, what are you going to do for us? Let us have that. And when you don't do it, in 4 years you come back and they now stop. Maybe people will not vote you in. That mindset must be do away. But human mind is regulated by constitution. Therefore, our constitution must be entrenched.
Are delegates recycled? We heard somewhere, one of the reports from Enugu saying politicians are being recycled. Are we also recycling delegates?
No. Every election, every electionary year, you go for. Some people could come back. Okay. Some people have their constituency and they are popular. It depends
so they
on
are
your
brought
popularity.
Forward.
They are brought
really?
forward. And then
whose purpose are they serving? That of the party, that of the nation, that of the grassroots, that of themselves?
Politically or democratically, they're supposed to serve the purpose of the country. They have the country at heart. If you ask me, for us, I believe that as a delegate, I will have to look at what are you bringing to help the country. Because my belief as a delegate today is a leader that will come and improve our economic activities. It's the type of leader
When
we
people
need.
talk of delegates now, they almost talk about them with a level of awe and high esteem, because they're imagining, this delegate, when it's time for primaries now, it will be something else for them, because they become like the most beautiful bride. They are the ones every candidate is looking towards. Some of them gather them in nice places and pamper them. Those things you want to be removed from campaigns, maybe they bring them now for the delegates. It's the most beautiful bride in the election process are the delegates we hear. So, I mean, how can such a person or such a people still use their conscience at the end of the day when they have been so pampered and petted, or aren't they?
For us, I will urge Nigerians that at a time like this, it's time for us to forget about that 10 naira they will give you, or 20,000 they will give. The highest they will give you as a delegate is $10,000 probably. Then what does 5 to 4 million do to you? Then you wait for another 4 years.
Is it as a bribe or as a thank you for your work?
I'm not saying, I say whoever, let's assume.
Okay, somebody will give you.
The highest you can get.
Okay.
And then when you take that money, you won't have good road. You won't have any, you will now have to import food.
But you can travel around the world.
How do you travel around the world? Where would that money take you? In 1 month or 1 day it's finished.
It's finished.
Then you wait for 4 years. Then in the first place, why do you need the money? You don't need the money. What we need as delegate is to see that we elect leaders that will come and...
So are you telling me that is the quality of delegates that we have now? Is that what has operated in the past?
It's orientation.
So gradually we're getting there.
What are the orientation as a country and as people that we are giving to our delegates?
Are you speaking for yourself or the delegates of your party?
I'm speaking as somebody that is bleeding that we have a beautiful country. We have beautiful leaders that we are not utilizing what we have. What we have, we are not using it to better the lot of our people, and we plunge ourselves into impoverishment every day.
Because of stomach infrastructure at different levels.
And then after you use this delegate, you abandon them, they become kidnappers, they become this. This is where they start. So for us, I'm bleeding and I'm telling Nigerians that it is time for us, even as a delegate, to focus and elect leaders that will help us improve this country and give employment
So who are you speaking to now to do this? Are you speaking to the delegates?
To Nigerians.
Are you speaking to Nigerians who will bring up these delegates?
Yes, both, all of us, even us, you and me. You are in the process of propagating must also look at people you bring here to propagate Nigerian and to propagate to the Nigerians what we need as a people. This is not time for infrastructure.
Don't think of only yourself.
No,
think of the country that you come from.
Stomach infrastructure. Indeed. It's time for us to build our country. Nobody will come to your country and build it for you.
Us. Thank you very much.
It is time that we join hands to create a Nigerian that will work for all of us.
Thank you very much. I am moved by what you say. Nigeria is. We pray you are going to do as you say, and that you have been able to touch the hearts and the consciences of many, because the future of Nigeria depends on a lot of you. Thank you, Shitu Mohammed Kabir, MON, former national chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council. Indeed, you have spoken expansively. Your PVC is your conscience. Let's learn more. The polling unit on election day is a beehive. Many come in early so they can cast their votes without rancor. There's only one requirement: ownership of a permanent voter's card.
It's very vital that every Nigerian have a PVC. But not just only having a PVC, but on the day of election, that every Nigerian who has a PVC go out there to vote for the right candidates, so that Nigerians will be beginning to have that power back to the people, so that it can be the ultimate decider of every democratic process in this country.
Permanent voters card. It equips and authorizes every eligible voter at the community, the state, or the federal level to cast their votes for candidates of their choice.
The awareness is coming up right now. A lot of people just say, because when we go out there and cast our votes, these people who voted for don't even do anything for us. So we end up wasting our time. I'm even tired and frustrated. Polling unit ambassador of Nigeria is going down to the grassroots to sensitize these people, to say, look, if you don't own the government, then you don't have any right to question the failure of government. Elections are not even rigged at the polling units. Elections are rigged from the process from the polling unit to the collation center. And now we want to capture every election process at the polling unit, and we'll send it directly to our server. So if you are thinking of rigging election, you have failed.
According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in 2021, voters' turnout hovered at around 30 to 35% of registered voters. There is no doubt that continued sensitization about the power of choice that voting brings cannot be overemphasized, especially as Nigeria is in the third quarter of the continuous voters' registration exercise.
As I go out there to monitor and observe the continual voters' registration, I also notice that a lot of people who have registered for their PVC have not come to collect these PVCs. If we can go to the bank and get your ATM card right there, we should also implement that with the PVC. So we don't need to come back to collect this PVC. A lot of people don't have time. Our observation also found out that they have only one network provider. So we say, let the commission also have options of the networks. Polling unit ambassador, when we started newly, we have mass members, and people came to buy this organization for 200 million. I stood up and I spoke the gospel of Puan and the integrity of Nigerians. You can't buy this organization. This is a Nigerian organization, and we mean business to change the narrative. And after so much talk, one of them stood up and said, "Are you Nigerians? We've never seen people like this."
Own the government that you want to bring in by getting your PVC. Be present in your local government area. Know who your councillor is. Go home more often. Fraternize. Share ideas. Meet with those who are working for your community, your local government area, and your state. Be responsible. Be a patriot. Don't sell your conscience. God indeed bless Nigeria. Bye-bye from all of us here.